let's turn on the relaxing music, because today, me and every single one of you are gonna be hanging out, chilling together, listening to two new IEMs that I got in the mail, mainly this one, the S12 by Shuoer, I think that's how you pronounce the brand name, and also the highly requested in the comment section, the CRA. I'm gonna be trying these two out. Well, I'll be honest, I've been listening to the S12 pretty much all day long, and I really like it, but still, I haven't really compared this A and B with any other IEMs yet. So in this video, it's still gonna be my initial thoughts, maybe first day thoughts on the S12 plus my first impression of the CRA. I haven't even opened this. I haven't tried this, but since you guys want me to try it so badly, got one. So before we jump into the S12, let's actually try out the CRA first. Now, I have no information on this IEM whatsoever. I just know that the comment section has been going crazy about the CRA ever since I did the video on the Clinical X Tripoen. Everyone was asking, CRA, CRA, CRA. And now, it is here. Now, what's inside the box doesn't really matter when it comes to IEMs this inexpensive. They usually just give the same thing, like look, some spare tips, cable, and tips that comes with the IEM, of course, and that's pretty much it. Don't really expect anything too different from these companies. Now, while I connect these cables to the IEM, I would love it if you guys would go down to the description and check out my Facebook group. We have like 1,300 members now. By the end of the year, we would love it to hit 10,000 members. So if you haven't joined yet, please do. The community is growing. We have fun on there. We post all about audio, so that's really fun place to be on Facebook. If you are on Facebook, in you go and in you go. The DAB I'm using to test music has always been the same DAB, always. The M11 Plus. Now, I love my M11 Plus. It is my end game DAB. I really don't need to buy any more DAB. And I tell people this all the time. You don't need to buy multiple different DABs. Maybe one or two is fine. Have one end game and one maybe with like monstrous battery life that you can take anywhere with you. That's my setup anyways, and it works really well for me from day-to-day use. I never need to have, or never really feel like owning any more sources. I think that's just a waste of money. Buy more IEMs, That's not a waste of money, I guess. Yeah, just buy more IEMs, test more IEMs. I'm gonna go with a really nice R&B song today. We're gonna go with Neo, if you guys remember Neo. I'm gonna go with Miss Independent. Let's go. So $14, $15. I have nothing bad to say about it at that price point, I mean, if I were to really nitpick the sound, I can say that, well, maybe it does lean a little bit bright, like there's some sibilance, and the sound itself just leans towards the bright signature. The bass is also much as well, so it gives this kind of like a almost like a V-shaped kind of feel with a bright lean or an energy leaning. Just a little bit too much treble. Let's just say that, just my first initial impression. Vocals just comes across a little bit too, I would say, too sharpened, if you know what I mean. They don't sound the most natural. Also, the timbre is a little bit sharpened as well. It's not the most clean, not the most organic sounding. Bass is good. I would say it's decent. There's nothing to like take home about when it comes to the bass. The thing that was really distracting about the IEM itself, like I said again, is that treble. There's just a lot of it. It is a little bit bright, but that's just me really nitpicking it. When it comes to IEMs at $14, $15, a lot of the times you can expect it to be pretty mediocre. So these, they're great for the price. $14, $15, I think they're easy recommendation. Someone to ask me like, hey man, I only have $20, what should I buy? I mean, CRA, why look anywhere else? This is one of the cheapest IEMs that is tuned rather well. Like I said, if not for the little bit of treble, maybe you can even tone that down with EQ, but it's really not so bad, man. Yeah, it's under $20. I really have nothing to complain about it. Seriously, nothing. This could easily have been in the $25, the $30 mark maybe, and I'll still be okay with it. I wouldn't say it is as good as $50, $70 plus IEMs. When it comes to $70, I first think of the Moondrop Aria, and do these sound as impressive as Aria? For me, I still prefer the Aria over these, but again, the Aria is like $65 more than these. Yeah, $15, an absolute no-brainer, just off first impression. Like I said, nothing to complain, sounds great. Just keep in mind, it's gonna be a little bright. Now on to the main event, the Shuoer S12. Now this has been the new hype planar on the market ever since the Timeless came out. Everyone's like all hyped about planars all of a sudden, and you know, for good reason. The Timeless is fantastic. Still probably the best IEM you can grab around the $200 range. Now Shuoer's, this one came to one gigantic surprise for me as well. Seriously, I've listened to this thing pretty much all day, like since morning all the way till nighttime. The first time I listened to this, my mind was like almost blown away, you know, because this is $150 and it sounds so good. When it comes to the tuning, it is so close to the Timeless, maybe a little bit brighter than the Timeless. The treble is a little bit more peaky than the Timeless, but overall it is 95% the Timeless when it comes to the tuning. And you know, I love how the Timeless sounds. I love how this sounds. The one thing that this has over the Timeless, just based off memory, I haven't really A/B tested them yet, but just based off of memory, the timbre on the S12 is actually more pleasing than the Timeless. The Timeless has a little bit of this kind of planar timbre. Nothing that's too annoying. I don't really mind it, but this doesn't really have as much as the Timeless does when it comes to planar timbres. This actually sounds more organic, more natural, and my friend said it best, it sounds more musical, and I really agree with him there. I guess you can say smoother as well than the Timeless. Now, I will say though, it does sacrifice technical performance. The details on these are clearly below the Timeless. Based off memory, I don't think is that much far below the Timeless, but it's still below the Timeless nonetheless. The Timeless just feels a lot speedier from memory. The Shuoer S12 is not as speedy, but again, when it comes to just tuning, musicality, enjoying the music, the S12 is just as enjoyable as the Timeless. And sometimes on certain songs, I do feel that I enjoy the S12 a little more than the Timeless. Again, based off memory, haven't really tested them side by side, right? Timeless is more of a technical listen. There's a lot of details in the Timeless and it becomes more of an analytical type of listen. While the S12 is more so for just listening, enjoying the music. It is smoother, it sounds more natural. The timbre is nicer than the Timeless. So it has this sense of ease of listen, you know? A lot of people can just pick this up and just enjoy it out of the box. The Timeless, on the other hand, can maybe take some adjustment to get used to. The timbre, the planar timbre might not sit well with some people. Again, doesn't bug me, but the S12 out of the box just sounds fantastic. There's no planar timbre, or there's a little, but not as noticeable. Tonality is great. It is, again, like I said, a little bit bright in the treble area. It is a little bit peaky at times when it comes to certain artists, but I don't notice it on too many songs, only some songs, so that's really not an issue either. $150 though, $150, $70 cheaper than the Timeless. I would say this is, it's a steal. It's almost a crime, you know, because Timeless is already a crime. I give Timeless like the best score for value possible because Timeless performs at the same level as IEMs around $500 to $700. So Timeless is really far up there. This coming in at $70 cheaper and arguably just slightly bit lower quality than the Timeless, just slightly. It's a steal. It's a crime how cheap this is. And this actually gets me really excited about 2022 and what's to come, especially in the planar market and in the budget zone. You know, anything under $200 I'm really excited about. I'm almost not as excited about IEMs that are expensive, you know, 500 plus, I'm really not too excited about that. 1,000 plus, I'm really not excited about that at all because there's a lot of IEMs now in the $300 to $500 category that can compete with $1,000 IEMs, and trust me, I own a lot of flagships and I test them out on the regular, and flagships are really fun. You know, really good flagships are really fun, but you know, when you test them side by side with really good $500 IEMs, I mean, it would take someone with experience to be able to discern the differences between them at times. But yeah, I'm not really too excited for anything that's way too expensive. I'm more excited about what companies can now do at a cheaper cost. So anything below 500, especially anything below 200, I'm all game. And especially with the S12 here, $150 performs, again, just as good as $400 or $500 IEM. I'm sold. I'm sold. I mean, so yeah, two very, very good IEMs for the price, the S12, the CRA. I hope this is good news or good kind of like foreshadow to what's to come in 2022. I hope the year progressively brings us better and better equipments. I think IEMs are getting really interesting now, more so than before, especially in the planar market. So yeah, I'm excited for 2022. And if you're interested in any of these two IEMs, you don't really have to wait for my full reviews on those. Just take my words right now. They're both great. If you have a budget of $20, CRA is great. If you have a budget of $200, the S12 is fantastic. So if you want to buy those, I would say just go ahead and pull the trigger. Don't really have to wait for my full review, although a full review is coming up in the short future here. And yeah, excited.